Hey everyone, Melissa from melissaversusfibromyalgia.com here. How are you going? I am a little bit more myself. I'm getting over all the things. The chest infection is in the rearview mirror. Unfortunately, we're looking down the barrel of endometriosis flare coming soon. I have hope that it will be better because of the progesterone, but we're in a bit of a good patch, which has been nice. This week has been fairly nice, but it's been making me think really so much about this idea that we're told to push through and how I have accidentally internalized these messages. So I was given the outright message through my 20s to just push through, get on with it. And that led to burnout and worse symptoms and a terrible quality of life. The most important thing I want anyone with chronic illness to know is that your quality of life is really important, and it is more important than functionality, than being able to work full time or do a certain amount of minutes of exercise. Your quality of life is more important. It is so important. You deserve to enjoy your life. And in terms of like a really simple graphic way of putting it, if you are doing the push through method, then generally your quality of life is flatlining. It's going down. Whereas if you are doing like the pacing and the coping mechanisms, your quality of life is going up. At a more complex level though, that's obviously very simplistic, but at a more complex level, it's going to be, especially along the day, you're going to maybe start with pain levels here, and then they kind of symptom levels creep up a little bit, but then maybe you take a 10-minute break, and so they go down a little bit. Then you do some more work and they go up a little bit, but then you take a good full stop rest break, maybe a yoga nidra, which I love to teach people about, and you can get more information in the description about how to try yoga nidra. But then maybe your symptom levels come right down to really almost baseline from the start of the day. Maybe the start of the day is a bit higher for you and it takes a little while to come there, but whatever your lowest point is. And then you carry on and you're using your energy. Symptoms go up a little bit, take another 10-minute break, comes down a little bit, right? So you're ending the day with fairly stable symptom levels, and you feel nicer. It feels so much nicer when you're working within your bounds, right? And when you're having those rests. Whereas if you're in the push-through model, you kind of start up here. I mean, this is where I used to start, like just high levels. And then the whole day is just going higher and higher and higher and higher, right? Because there's nothing to mitigate it. And you end the day exhausted and unable to calm your body down and overtired and in so much pain that your nervous system can't rest into sleep. And so I think it is really important to come back into alignment with our pacing levels, our abilities to have a rest. And look, we don't have to do massive rests. I just was reading the case study of someone who implemented more proactive rests into their day. And so they had been previously having one or two really long rests, but they said, actually, I'm going to pre-schedule some rests. And they said, I'll have a half an hour rest here and here and here. And in the end, it made their day nicer. Their actually overall rest decreased and what they were able to manage increased. So I think it's really smart to play with how we're doing it. But at the end of the day, the goal has got to be really clear. The goal is that our quality of life matters. So I did the whole pushing through thing and I got really sick and I was extremely burnt out. And it took me a long time to figure out what was burnout and what was actual symptoms and kind of climb out of it. And my whole journey took a very long time because there was no guidebook. I didn't have the Fibro Manual or From Fatigue to Fantastic, and there was hardly any information anywhere around, and there certainly wasn't a doctor who understood. And so it's been very slow for me, but my quality of life is so much better. I feel so much happier now, and I deserve that, and I'm trying to really learn to stand in that. So I'm quite apologetic, and it's really funny. So I know that I need my yoga nidra rest break. About 1 o'clock each day, I have my rest break. And it can be very difficult to protect it. And I'm a little apologetic when it interferes with other people's things. Oh, you want to go out at that time of day, right when I'm supposed to be having a rest break, or you want to do this thing and that doesn't work for me. And I really am apologetic about it, but the reality is that it makes my life so much nicer. So yesterday, as an example, usually I work from home, and therefore I have the flexibility to kind of go on and off work as I need. So I'll do an hour or two, go and do something else, like maybe walk the dog or sit down with a heat pack and go back and do my work. And then when I go for my rest break at 1 o'clock, I am ready to rest. I'm not overtired, I'm not in too much pain generally, and the rest is like, the whole thing is useful as a rest, and then I come back out ready to do the rest of the day. Usually that's to move on and do some errands and jobs and then get the kids and go through the evening. Yesterday I was in the office. I didn't get home until around 1, 1:30, but I wasn't feeling very well. I was feeling really tired and I was really hurting in my neck and I had a headache, but I had to eat. And then you can't just lie down straight after you've eaten. So I didn't get in to have a rest until 2 o'clock. And it wasn't really just about the time, it was just the fact that I was overtired and in a lot of pain and had basically overdone it in the morning. The first 20 minutes of my meditation was my body trying to release enough tension to be able to relax. So I was wriggling, couldn't find the right position, trying to stretch out my neck, trying to release all of the tension that had built up, like in my shoulders and my neck and my temples. And I finally relaxed into it fully. And then there was only like 7 or 8 minutes to go. And then that was it. And so, it didn't go as well for me. I was more tired in the afternoon. In the evening, I wasn't feeling very well. I actually ended up having to take pain relief, which I haven't done for this last week. I had been having a break, but I needed pain relief. Actually, I needed to do the slow release paracetamol and then the ibuprofen. And I really try to avoid ibuprofen because I'm nervous of the impact on my gut, especially because for the endometriosis, I have to take naproxen, which is also an anti-inflammatory and very hard on your gut. Anyway, I had to do it. And so by the time I got into bed, again, it was all of the stretching and trying to release the tension. And then it takes a long time before you're actually getting ready to rest. And I didn't have as much deep or REM sleep because my body was too much. So you can see how those proactive rest breaks can really help alleviate like the experience like in your day, but also help make the rest be more efficient and effective. And it just makes all the difference. And I think there's lots of things we can do to make it easier. Like I was saying in my example earlier, you can take a 10-minute break. So whether that's just go lie on your bed for 10 minutes, focus on your breathing, or do a body scan meditation, or anything you can do. Like honestly, you feel maybe you've got to go to work all day and you feel like there's not a lot of option because you just have to be there and you can't go and lie down, but you can take loads of breathing breaks. You could take a 5-minute breathing break every hour. Just anything that might help you kind of just take a rest and bring back the nervous system and bring back the symptom levels. But also other parts of that, there's much more than pacing, obviously. So I'm talking about pacing as like the main example here, but you can use all the tools. So the medications, the stretching, the topical creams, the hot bath, the gentle walks, whatever, every single coping mechanism. But when you use those coping mechanisms, it improves your quality of life. And it's okay to be happy with where you're at. And I'm just coming to a point now where I obviously need to get the endometriosis stuff under control, but I'm really happy with what I'm able to do. And I'm really happy, like so thankful for the days where my symptoms are so low and that all my coping mechanisms make it work. And then my breathing breaks, my stretching breaks, my yoga nidra, it makes me feel so nice. Now I have lived through daily pain levels of 6 to 7 out of 10 with no coping mechanisms to help. And so even on the days where my pain levels are that bad, it's not the same experience because I have loads of things that can help. It very rarely stays at that point. The endometriosis is something altogether different and something that just has to be managed differently. But in terms of my normal pain levels, there's always something I can do. And that's why I love to share this information with you guys, why I share the yoga tools like the yoga nidra, the stretching, the restorative yoga, the breath work. All of those things are tools that I'm equipped with at all times to use, whenever I like. And so that's why I share it. So yeah, let me know, does any of this resonate? Are you more excited and do you feel more able to kind of protect those boundaries, test, what works for you? Let me know anything that's come up from this conversation, and I'll talk to you again soon.